but I got used to having really good jam when we were growing up. We never bought it. And then I moved to Dancing Rabbit and suddenly had access to all this fruit. Like our neighbors would call and say, hey, we've got some plums, we've got some peaches, we got some pears. Then I got into canning everything. I canned everything. I made violet jelly and dandelion jelly and dandelion syrup. Then when we opened the Mercantile, we wanted to be serving things that were made here, and we wanted to provide work and things for people to buy that were made here, not that were made somewhere else. So we just taught ourselves how to do it, and we're gonna make raspberry jam today. We need 4 cups of berries. These are berries from my own bushes that I picked during the summer and froze until now. You need sugar. You need pectin. Pectin is what makes jam gel. So I found this Pomona's pectin. This feels like a commercial. Pomona's pectin. I like it because it allows me to use as little as half a cup of sugar for 4 cups of fruit. And so it gels, but it still tastes really, really good. And there's not a lot of sugar, and it's more like what jam I think should be. We're going to put a little sham board in it because why not? To prepare, these are canning jars. You can't just use any jar. You can't use like a mayonnaise jar that you're recycling. It needs to be something that actually says canning. They're heavier weight and they can take the heat and the pressure. And jam is a great way to start canning. We were just talking about how you can't kill anyone with jam, at least not with botulism. My friend Sonia said, well, if you took a jar of jam and hit him in the head with it, that probably would kill them, but I don't think that's what I meant. So, no botulism. So, 4 cups of berries, put them in the pot. Get a pot that has a really heavy bottom. This is stainless steel and it's got like a double or triple bottom. You don't want to use something that's light in aluminum because you just don't. Bring the fruit or juice to a boil. There's an extra step that goes with the raspberry, and that's calcium water. There's a little packet of calcium that comes in the packet. So I just put 2 tablespoons in here of calcium water, and it just allows it to gel without tons of sugar. Measuring sugar, I'm going to start with 1 cup, and to that we're adding pectin powder to the sugar. I buy it in bulk, which is why it's in these big containers. Yeah, that is a rolling boil. And that has the pectin mixed in. Make sure we get all around the sides. Now we bring it back to a boil. Okay, so 1 to 2 tablespoons, I don't know. Oh, that looks good. Let's try that. All right, let me just do one last taste. Okay. If I don't say so myself, it's pretty great. Okay, so now, canning funnel. These jars have been sterilized in a hot water bath. We'll talk about that later. Right now, we're dealing with hot jam. Always tie your hair back. You don't want hair in your jam. Always wear shoes, not sandals, even though you're in your own kitchen. And we have to leave what is called head space, which is like ½ an inch around the top. Before you put the lids on, you take a clean, wet towel and go along the edges, just the top, because you want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to impede the seal. Then the lid and the ring, these you do not reuse, these you can reuse. So put that on and stir it. It's still very hot. Just do it what they call finger tight, so don't crank it on. So this has a rubber ring on the inside, and that's what's going to seal when we put it in the hot water bath. Over here we have this big huge pot that we're using for our hot water bath. You can use just about any kind of a pot, but it needs to be deep enough so there's 1 inch of water when you put the jars in. The other thing is that you need something on the bottom and it keeps the jars from sitting directly on the bottom of the pot. You cannot put the jars right on the bottom of the pot or they'll all break and your raspberry jam will be raspberry soup. So I'm waiting for this to come to a boil, and when it does, we'll put our jars of jam in for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes we can take them out, and then they'll be sealed and they'll be good for about a year because there's no preservatives in them. And then you want to have about an inch of water above the jars. So they will boil for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes of boiling, you just put it in, take it out, and then bring it level and put it, and you just leave it there. Just let them sit for at least 6 hours, preferably 12. Don't touch them.